Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I review the last of the GvK Titans from MonsterArts Kong, the lovable Titan himself. Kong 2021 is from Godzilla vs. Kong 2021, and the original figure released in Japan on May 14, 2021 and in the US on June 14, 2021. It was released earlier than the Godzilla, and reissues would come out later. And the figure is $67.99 MSRP, and unlike many MonsterArts right now, him and Godzilla are available to purchase through many websites. So if you want to get it for yourself, do so. With that being said, let's get on to this Titan. Starting out here with the box, it is marvelous. Just like his fellow GvK friends, it is a colorful box with these bright, beautiful splashes of colors that just pop out. It's a very thin box, much smaller than the others. You have the stickers, you have Kong, you have a little display window, very nice, and you have the top. So pretty great box. And now that I have all three, I can show you what the full pictures look like. It is fantastic. I'm so happy that for some reason this is a thing. And now let's move on to the figure. Since Kong is more of a humanoid Titan, that allows for much more expressive articulation than other monsters. And it's a very fun figure to pose. It's very fun. I like it a lot. However, I do recommend you use a hairdryer to apply some heat for cleaner movement, because mine was just a little bit tight, but with a bit of heat, he's much better. Now, we have a lot of dumbbell and normal ball joints, as well as a bunch of pieces, which is to reduce gaps and provide smoother movement. So starting at the head, we have a ball joint at the head. Oh well, there you go. You can see it. There's the ball joint at the head, and you can monkey spin his head. His neck here is what allows for greater movement. So you can have him look to the right and left a lot better than before, because the neck, it just allows for more dynamic posing. The neck is also on a ball joint. And for the shoulders here, they are also on a ball joint. They fully articulate and fully rotate. We have a bicep swivel. Yeah. And here at the elbow, we have a double hinge, which is nice. The forearm here is on a swivel, and the wrists are on a ball joint. Very, very nice. The upper chest piece is on a ball joint. Very smooth. There's this little piece in the middle, which make sure you're grabbing this figure safely. You want to grab him here on his belly button, because this doesn't articulate. This just moves around to cover gaps. Like, say I had the figure like this. You slide it there so that it reduces said gaps. So be careful with that. And another piece you want to be careful with is the piece down here. As you can see, it moves up and down, not too much to the left or right, and I don't recommend that you force it. So be careful when you're articulating him in the body. Very, very careful. Anyway, the legs are on a ball joint. They can spread apart very wide and can kick back and forward very nicely. The piece here can swivel, I guess, if you want the thigh swivel. The knees here have a nice bend. They can let Kong's foot go way back. And the lower leg is like a swivel, so if you want that. We have a little piece here to cover gaps. The foot is on a ball joint, and half the foot is cut out to give the toes articulation, which is very sweet. So overall, this figure is very poseable, and when it comes to articulation, Kong gets an easy pass. Spoiling the accessories, we do have accessories that allow Kong to go on all fours, so you get that as well. And that's very sweet. There was a lot of issues with this figure falling apart or being too tight, but mainly that's with the original. Get the reissue. The reissue has no problems, and as far as I'm aware, no one else has had problems with it. So if you're gonna get this figure, make sure you get the reissue. Now let's move on to that monkey sculpt. Talking about the sculpt, you probably noticed something off about Kong here. And that's that he isn't 100% accurate. But the reason for it is very interesting. That's because this figure was sculpted by animal sculptor Shinzen Takuchi. He kept Kong's accuracy in mind, but he focused more on what Kong's actual build and bone structure would look like. I like it. It doesn't look too bad. It's not accurate, but again, it's not bad. I think he still did a good job on this. So starting with Kong's face here, you can see he has quite smooth skin. There's some detail to it, but yeah, there's his skin for you. His nose looks great, his snout, mouth, chin, and you can see that they sculpted around the eyes, and the actual sculpt and paint of the eyes, which we'll get into in a bit, looks great. It looks lifelike, and it honestly looks like this figure is alive. I gotta give props to Tamashii Nations. It looks good. And the rendering of the fur is something else that's great. I mean, just look at all that fur. And the way it's rendered, like how small it is and how detailed it is, it looks good. And I like how there's tufts of fur in some spaces, and then in spaces like here, it's very sharp and they're kind of spread out. So I think Bandai did a good job with that. The muscle here looks fantastic, and lifting Kong's head up, his neck looks great. You can see they even sculpted behind the beard. The pecs here look great, but there's a bit of a dent here, and that's so that Kong's beard can fit. And I like the skin here. That looks good. The pecs are great. He has some nice detail to it, and the scars look old, but they also look like they're slowly healing. Then we have the shoulders. Great attention to detail with the muscle and the biceps here. Yep, that is great. And I like the tufts of fur here. They look stylized, they look good, but it's accurate to real life apes. And so is this next detail where the fur stops behind the knuckles. That is another great sculpt rendering there by the sculptor. And I like the fingernails, did a good job with that. You of course have Kong's six-pack and his belly button, which I find interesting. We have Kong's muscular legs. They look great. Yeah, nice legs, Kong. And you have the bottom of his foot with the, trademark there. And again, I like how the fur stops behind the toes. It doesn't stop before that. And you have his toenails. And then going on here to the back, you have all of this muscle definition. He's very bulky. He has this old man-like feel. And wow, even through all that fur, you can see that he is muscular. And you have the monkey butt. So yeah, a very great sculpt. And that's only complemented well by the paint. And the paint here, I find it to be interesting because Kong's skin is more of like a darkish brown, and it has a hint of gloss on it. So I find that to be interesting. It doesn't look too bad though. It looks pretty good in person. And for the eyes, you have his beautiful orange eyes. Those are some beautiful eyes, Kong. And his fur is like this dark brown, and it's dry brushed with like this very light brown. As you see, there are some spaces where you can see the dark brown, and obviously you see the light brown. It kind of adds like there's a lot of fur to this ape look, and I think that's really nice. That's very great. And yeah, the scars are like the old grayish pink color. I like that. Yeah, so overall the sculpt and paint are absolutely amazing. I like how the fur transitions into the skin and how it happens, the skin to the fur. The sculpt and paint just do it so well, and honestly it's like magic because it looks great. It's not accurate, of course, but Kong still looks fantastic. Not 100% accurate, but it's still a look that looks great. So Kong gets yet another pass on sculpt and paint. So, does Kong have any accessories? Yes, he does. And thank God we finally got things that aren't just hands. Our first accessory right here is a alternate roaring head. As you can see, Kong is a lot more angry, not like the blank expression on his normal face. You can see his mouth is open. It's great. The sculpting and the painting of the mouth is fantastic. It looks good. Not bad at all. Yeah, it's pretty good. And check this out. His tongue is articulated. Hold on. Look at that. It's articulated. So if you want to articulate it, you can. To put the head in, you just take out the old head, which is simple to do, and then you just put on the new one. And boom, just like that, you have the head. Thankfully, this head is actually easy to put on, unlike a certain other monkey. But yeah, it's a good head. It's probably the head I'm going to be using for this figure all the time, unless I'm doing the stop motion. But yeah, it's a pretty good head. We get a lot of hands, so let's go over each pair. We have 6 hands and 3 pairs. First up, we have some open hands. They look very good. They're very open. The fingers are super long. So yeah, you have that. Next up, we have the hands for knuckle walking, which we showed earlier in the video. And then lastly, we have some open hands. They're like fists, but they're open. You can see that they're pretty much ready to grab something. So yeah, that's very cool. And then lastly, the coolest accessory in my opinion, we have the battle axe. The battle axe looks great. The bone itself looks very old and weathered. It's a different brown compared to the wrapping, which could be Godzilla skin. The detail is just great. The paint looks nice. I like the tip there. And then you have the skin, which has like bumps and stuff. It looks nice, and the wrapping is gray. And the actual axe blade itself, very cool. It's accurate to the movie. It has all these little details. And the paint is good. I like the blues that were used. We have like a flat blue, and then we have a metallic lighter blue, but I wish it was dry brushed. The other blue, not the metallic blue, because that was dry brushed. But yeah, overall a pretty great accessory. And to get it on Kong's hands, all you have to do is simply slide it in, which is that easy. I recommend you use a hair dryer to soften the plastic. And of course, if you want to put any of these hands on Kong, you just take out the ones that he has and you just put in the new one. So yeah, very nice accessories. I'm happy that we at least got something. Kong stands at 5.7 inches tall, which makes sense because in GvK he is 335 feet, which is still smaller than Godzilla's 393 feet. But because of that, he is going to be very small compared to other figures in your collection. He does still fit in with the Playmates figures, and of course, he does stand well with his GvK friends. And here's another MonsterArts for comparison. He's alright. He's not as tall as them, but he's still smaller. He still looks good. With all of that, I have finally finished the review for the SH MonsterArts Kong 2021. Kong, out of all of these figures, is worth it, especially for his accessories and the articulation. So if you want to, you can pick all 3 of these up for yourself. They are running for their normal price, except on eBay, they may be going for a little more. But yeah, these are fantastic figures and I highly recommend them. Thank you all for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.